Alright, how's everybody doing today? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be doing a video on EDR stock, or the owners of UFC, and pretty much they just released their earnings call, right? So I'm going to be talking about and discussing what they said in that earnings call. This is the first ever earnings call because they just went public, I would say, a month ago or so, a few months ago now, and they haven't done anything like this so far, and I just wanted to see if the stock's a buy or not. I promised I would make a video on this. The stock is barely even covered for some reason. They're the owners of UFC, which is massive, so I'm very surprised the stock isn't covered more. But there's a very important thing on this video that I'm very interested in the stock in short, but there's one thing keeping me from making this a very big position of mine. I'm going to discuss that later in this video, but yeah, I have to give some context before I let you know. But this is a very interesting one. Right before we jump into it though, make sure you guys subscribe to this channel. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, so if you guys can just click that sub button, that'd be really appreciated. It's absolutely free. You can unsubscribe at any time if you like. But yeah, I'm trying to 1,000 subscribers, so if you guys can help me reach that goal, that would be really appreciated. It'll mean a lot. So after hours, I'm just going Robinhood to see. It jumped up pretty big. Like, it went from basically 29 to 30. So it jumped up basically pretty much 2%, right? 1.5%, 2% after hours. So the earnings had to have been pretty good. But in short, basically what they said is they projected even better actual earnings, right? So basically they've been saying what they actually said in the earnings call. They put emphasis in this. They're like, okay, every single sport, basketball, every single sport out there, the ratings are down. Like, the ratings are really down. People are not watching it. But the UFC's viewership and ratings are up 9% year over year, or is it 2 years over year? Because I think they're counting it before COVID times. That's how they're really structuring this. But nonetheless, that's actually pretty crazy that UFC numbers are up when every other sport is literally down. It's pretty interesting. But basically, their earnings were 4.7 billion, which what was crazy is that's what they expect, right? That's crazy. If you go to their earnings, financials, this is their balance sheet. If you go to their actual earnings, that would be the best year this company's ever had. Like, this would be the height of UFC and EDR. That's crazy. They've never done this good. At least, maybe, yeah, they would have done better than 2019 numbers, which is crazy because obviously the first quarter of this year is still a lot of the world in COVID lockdowns and stuff like that. So maybe the EDR has been better in years past, but I think that's kind of crazy that they're projecting to do better numbers this year than they've ever done in the past, even with the pandemic slowing things down pretty massively. Basically, what a lot of people don't realize, but I didn't even fully realize this, is that Endeavor Group, dude, they own so many things. It's not only the UFC, right? They own the UFC, which is a huge part of the company. But a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the revenue that comes in is from other stuff. So they're doing all kinds of stuff. They have this whole thing where they're doing they do movies. Like, they have their own original content going on, like Netflix, Hulu, like HBO. They have original content. They have partnerships with Disney for ESPN. They have partnerships with their own school to train people for the UFC, or even training them for sports and stuff. They have marketing stuff for the Olympics. So they basically said that they're going to be with the Olympics for a decade to go in the future. They're going to be with the Olympics, working with them, and that's going to bring them a lot of money. But the stock's probably not going to move until 2024 in terms of having revenue from the Olympics, right? Olympics is very, very seasonal. But they also said that, this company's all over the place. They talked about NFTs. They're doing trading cards. The CEO was going crazy on the earnings call. I'm not even kidding. That guy was he seemed like he was very excited about the future of Endeavor. But yeah, that's pretty cool, right? Now, if we look at, obviously their guidance is between 4.7 to 4.8. And then they expect to reduce their debt by 600 million in Q3 2021, which is good. Now, this brings me to the point I was saying earlier in the beginning of this video, man. Now, this company, they have now cash of almost $1 billion, but their debt is insane, dude. They have 6 billion in debt, 5.8 billion in debt, dude. That is crazy. If you just look at their market cap of 20 billion, is that correct? If you go on Yahoo Finance, their market cap shows 7.4. I think I would like to say that Yahoo Finance is wrong, and I think they are truly at a $20 billion market cap. I could be wrong. I think this is right. But yeah, either way, their debt is pretty damn big, man. Their debt is a pretty sizable chunk, to say the least, right? So I would definitely like to hear them talk more about the debt in their earnings call. Google has EDR's market cap at about 13 billion. So I think this is actually the more correct number, 13 billion. I don't think they're at, because last time when I was looking at their shares diluted, I think I calculated about 13 billion. So I think that is the correct number. So yeah, having 6 billion, what was it in debt? Having like 6 billion in debt is pretty big, right? That's almost half of their market cap. But they do seem pretty like forward looking and actually being able to 6 billion, right? So they're looking to actually reduce that debt sizably. So this year they should probably be down to 5 billion, and then maybe in 5-6 years they can mitigate that to just 1 to 3 billion in debt. And I think they could do it. They didn't say anything about issuing more shares. Obviously, I don't think they would really hint that. It's not the best for the stock. But they did say they're going to do some M&A, which I guess is merging and acquisitions to lower that debt, which I guess it means selling off high debt portions of the business. Is that what they mean by that? If you guys know better than me, let me know. I'm not like a accounting expert or anything like that, but yeah, that's pretty cool there. So yeah, this stock is very interesting, man, especially with the UFC. They actually said something very interesting. One, they're profitable, dude. They're actually profitable. Look at this. So in the first 3 quarters, they've made $2 million. So they're profitable. Bottom line, they actually are making a profit. Last year this time, even though last year, March 31st, COVID was just starting to come around. Like maybe they've had a few weeks of COVID. Nothing was shut down though, right? Nothing in terms of sporting. I don't think anything got shut down till middle of March, at least in the US and California. So yeah, they lost 51 million before COVID. So now a year after COVID, they're making a profit. That's very, very interesting. I usually like companies where if you see companies like, even though they're going through hard times, they're still doing everything they can. They're not just accepting defeat. They're still pushing. That's very interesting. They said that the UFC got more popular after the pandemic. That's crazy, man. The UFC has now more viewership than before COVID. I mean, that's crazy because you watch these UFC events, people were fighting with like no one in the stands, right? You can't, it's really hard to build a very crazy loyal fan base if you have no one attending live, right? Or it's a lot harder to in the sport genre. So that's pretty crazy that they've been able to do that. And if they so I'm guessing with their projections, where were these projections? These projections are, I think they're being a little bit optimistic here. I think they're really projecting that they're going to be able to come back strong. They're going to be able to come in. Everything's going to sell out. They're going to have crazy attendance, which I think is very possible, but I wouldn't guarantee that. So I think they might be a little bit forward looking here, a little bit too optimistic, but I mean, I think it's very possible. I could see how they could reach these numbers. Now, am I buying this stock after all this? Dude, this is a very interesting one, man. This is a very interesting one. I'm going to have to, this stock is like, it's not like a Tesla. I mean, it's not like a stock where it's just Apple, where they sell phones, they sell laptops. It's very easy to kind of look into Apple and see what they do, kind of predict what's going to happen with the business over time. But with this company, they have so many moving parts because they have, I mean, they're doing everything from making original content. This stock's more like a conglomerate where they own so many different things, but then they're small. Like they're not that big. I mean, they're like 12 billion, but for a conglomerate, usually you would say 100 billion plus. So, dude, this company has the potential to be a $100 billion plus company, in my opinion, long term. It's not too far-fetched to say that the UFC could be worth 50 billion, and then the other entertainment, original content parts of this business, ESPN streaming, stuff like that, could be worth another 50 billion. And I mean, it's very plausible that over time, I think this company could be a 60, 80, even $100 billion company over time. Especially if they get that debt reduced, they get better with all of their actual execution of the company. I mean, they're doing NFTs. They said that they're going to launch their own NFT platform. Like, I don't know if they're just doing this for publicity. How much revenue would that even bring? I don't know, dude. I mean, I think they might be a little bit late to that bandwagon, but I mean, I guess that's good sign that they're very forward looking in that sense. They're now doing UFC trading cards, which is pretty damn funny. But yeah, I mean, this stock is pretty interesting. Analysts barely cover this stock. It's not covered. You go to CNBC, this stock is not covered at all. Which is why I like making videos on this stock, is because usually I like finding stocks that not many people are talking about, like a stock that not all of CNBC is going to be talking about. You go to Earning Whispers. If you don't know what Earnings Whispers is, basically they show all the hyped up earnings. UFC or EDR is not even on this list, man. They're not even on this list. You look at Wednesday after the close, UFC stock earnings is not even on this list. So this stock is very low key, dude. It's freaking UFC, but it's still such a low-key stock that not many people are talking about it. So hopefully you liked my opinion on this. Let me know if you're buying the stock down below.